Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 49 of the Memorial Memo. Almost at 50. We're getting there. It's kind of come along really quickly, but we're gonna get through this episode fairly quick. We got some stuff going on at the half hour, and then at the top of the about 4 o'clock right now, we got KSR happy hour. So we got some stuff to do, got some stuff to talk about, and we got to get through it fairly quickly today. So to start, Kentucky ranked number 25, or excuse me. I say 25. I was thinking about the AP top 25. Ranked number 15 in the AP top 25. It's the highest ranking Kentucky has been all season. And I think it's about right. You look at the AP top 25 and the teams that are, first of all, Maryland's number 7. So, okay, the one team you lost to, they're above you. You look at the teams just above Kentucky, and it's Vandy, who I don't love, but they're undefeated and playing really well. North Carolina, Iowa, Baylor, like those make sense to me. And you're right above USC, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Notre Dame. So, I think generally that kind of makes sense. But I think if you keep winning through non-conference and you head into SEC play with just this one loss, then I tend to sit and think, okay, maybe you're all right, and then you can, maybe you'll go up to be approaching top 10. If you beat LSU, you'll definitely be near top 10. I know, actually, you'll be near top 5, right? You beat LSU, Maryland's going to end up losing some just because they're so hurt. And that's what sucks about that game is that, at the end of the year when we're looking at resumes, hopefully Maryland does good in Big Ten play because they are fully healthy, pretty much fully healthy when they beat Kentucky. But I think now they're down like 3 starters. So Maryland, I know they're pushed to the wire by like a borderline top 30 Minnesota team. But again, you just kind of hope that, Maryland can do okay and that resume starts to look good. So moving on to the net. Kentucky, number 7 in the net rankings. It's the highest Kentucky has been all year in that category. And then you sit here and you look at the net rankings. And the first thing I really notice is that where's Maryland? We're playing these games, and it's like the first thing I notice is where's Maryland? They're actually number 11, as far as I know. I'm gonna double check that. Oh, Maryland is dropped. Oh no, they're up to number 9. Okay, so this is actually slightly outdated. I put this in, I guess, yesterday, but Maryland is at number 9. Of course, with Iowa losing last night to Iowa State, that makes sense. But Kentucky's still number 7. I did check that this morning, just to be sure. But again, you look at that list, and I guess I'll talk about the updated list. I should do this the morning of rather than the night before. But UConn 1, Michigan 2. So that's, see, we have some changes in the top 3 already. LSU, Texas, UCLA, South Carolina, and then Kentucky, number 7. So Kentucky still ranks 4th in the SEC, moving up to number 7, which is still okay. That's whatever, I guess. But yeah. Of course, the net is such an important metric that people use nowadays. And again, Kenny has really emphasized the importance of the net and scheduling these games, when scheduling, your Marshalls and Buffaloes on the road, and then Miami on the road, which they didn't schedule that. It was kind of just given to them with the SEC, ACC Challenge. Same thing with Louisville. But Maryland on a neutral court even. And of course, I kind of hate it, and I wish the net weren't this way, which is why LSU is so high. I know LSU is good, but beating stinky teams by 50 really helps you in the net, and I don't love that. I think there should be more value in beating good teams than there is bad teams, but that's just kind of the way the net is. So, you look at Kentucky's quad records. Oh, this is interesting. So Miami moved up to a quad 1 win for Kentucky. Woo! Right? So Kentucky is one of, I think, 7 or 8 teams in the country with multiple quad 1 wins at this point already, which, for as much crap as we can give Kenny and, Kentucky about, the schedule sucks. I already have 2 quad 1 wins, so it's hard to get mad about that. And then, of course, you beat Central Michigan, so that's another quad 4. And then Marshall and Purdue still at quad 3. But yeah, again, you look at Kentucky in the net in general, and you got to be happy for the rep. If you go beat Belmont on the road, which we're about to go talk about, that'll help a lot. So that's really nice. Again, You just got to keep win. I mean, winning cures all, right? We talk about, uh, you know, the struggles you see in like the other sports on campus, right? Winning cures all, and so that's also the case with the net rankings. Kentucky is also a top 4 seed in the latest ESPN bracketology. Now, I love this because obviously, if you remember, or if you're new to the women's game and you don't know for sure, um, if you're a top 4 seed, so one of the top 16 overall seeds, you get to host the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. And Kentucky had that advantage last year. Now, obviously, Georgia A. misses a floater at the end of the Kansas State game, so it didn't totally play out in Kentucky's favor there. But you always want to have home court advantage if you can get it. Again, just looking at kind of the bracket here. I'm going to move my camera around. There we go. Kentucky is, like I said, a 4 seed projected to host. I like Notre Dame there as the 5, I like it because it's a great marketability type game. Like Hannah Hidalgo is one of the best players in the country. Notre Dame, a perennial power, just not quite to what they normally are. But I really like watching. There you go. That's better for the camera. I just really like watching this team, this Notre Dame team anyway, because again, Hannah Hidalgo and Leah Macy, who is not playing right now because she's coming off an injury, Kentucky kid. So that's always exciting. Want to get this in real quick. Nobody with the Go Big Blue. Go Big Blue, go Cats. So yeah, I'm really interested to kind of see, how that shapes out. I know like this is not what it's going to end up being, but I think it's just really interesting. So again, I like where Kentucky's at and so far in the national rankings and whatnot, but you just got to keep winning. You just got to keep doing what you can do. Central Michigan. How about that game? Kind of sucked, didn't it? Like, to start this game, it's way too close. Like, what are we doing? I mean, 45-38 at the half. It's a 7-point game at the half against Central Michigan. Like, hello? It's like the first time all season that Kentucky's defense just didn't look great, just didn't look phenomenal. And really to start the game, that is kind of in the game. I mean, you held them to, 17 second half points. So it's really just the first half. They kind of came out slow. But again, just didn't look great for the most part defensively. But I guess it was nice to see them kind of clean that part up. It's funny because I talk about, bad defense and whatnot. Guys, Central Michigan still only shot 40% from the field and 17% from 3. And again, you just kind of look at, like, they turned the ball over 15 times. Again, like it's nice. I guess it's nice to say Kentucky, man, they sure look bad on defense today. Well, I think that's a lot of teams' best. Like that's for like a Kentucky C+ kind of day on defense, that's a lot of teams' A game. So it's hard to be mad at that. I sit and think about some of the positives from that game, and one of them was the fact you had 25 assists on 34 makes. And first of all, that's a crazy number. Like 25 assists, 34 makes. That's really efficient, good ball movement, all that kind of stuff. And it was Tony Morgan again who was doing it all for Kentucky. 12 points, 6 of 6 from the free throw line. I really like seeing players who can shoot well from the free throw line. It's funny because she goes 6 of 6. And then no one else on the team even shot free throws except for Tiani and Lexi, who each went 1 of 2. So Tony was responsible for 6 of Kentucky's 8 makes from the free throw line. I'm just a big free throw line enthusiast, like big free throw shooting enthusiast, because look, guys, that's free points you're leaving on the board if you're missing them. And you see a lot of games and a lot of teams really struggle, and games come down to that because you can't just shoot the damn free throw. So I'm always a fan of whenever, Tony Morgan goes 6 of 6 on the free throw line, or Clara Strack goes, 7 of 8 one game. You know what? That's worth celebrating. But anyway, 12 points. Guys, 11 assists and no turnovers. Not a single one. I'd have to look, but I would be pretty convinced, and you could probably tell me so. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tony Morgan's the only player in the country with multiple games of 11 plus assists, no turnovers. Because again, that's 16 assists, no turnover game against USC Upstate. And then she had 2 steals as well, so she's looking good. I do like this fan saying, I believe the women could run a track meet with the men. I'm gonna pump the brakes on that. There's obviously like the I mean, how do you describe this without sounding like an ass or anything? There's the like biological advantage that men have typically on women, especially D1 versus D1. Now it feels like, I don't know, like high school and D1, there may be like a difference there, but look, I completely understand the frustrations on the men's side, because I mean I feel it as a fan. And I thought, and of course Jack and Jacob, I'm pretty sure about to come on here at again 3:30 to talk about it. I thought they did a really good job with their article they released. It's on the KSR website if you haven't read it. Just talking about the struggles and the JMI and NIL and Mark Pope and all this stuff. Just exhausting, man. Like as a fan, just trying to keep up with it, it's like, oh my gosh. But I'm really fortunate to be able to cover this women's basketball team where the struggles aren't really. I mean, you're 10-1, multiple quad 1 wins. It's not really that bad, I guess. Here on the women's side right now, Claire Strack had a pretty good game as well. 14 points, 7 of 9 shooting from the field. Only 4 rebounds. You'd love to see her get more rebounds, but we'll talk about maybe why she didn't get as many here in a second. 4 assists. And then, here it goes. SEC Defensive Player of the Year again, 3 blocks and 3 steals. So Clara Strack continues to do, phenomenal Clara Strack things. But Tiani Key, she absorbed some of those rebounds. 11 rebounds for her against Central Michigan, 17 points on 8 of 10 shooting, 2 blocks and a steal. But guys, how about Asia Boone? 7 rebounds. Second on the team. Little bitty Asia Boone. 7 rebounds, 11 points, 3 of 8 shooting from deep. Also had 3 assists, so you like to see that from Asia Boone as well. She's been practicing that point guard spot, but hey, turns out it may be working for her just a little bit. Want to give a quick shout to our friends over at Roback. If you don't know, Roback, if you go over to their website, we got a little promo code for you. So you change the game with Roback, a proud partner of KSR. Get the best fit and the best feel with their incredibly comfortable activewear. From polos and quarter zips to shorts and Delta Performance pants, you will look good and feel good with Roback. Use promo code KSR for 20% off your first purchase at roback.com. So moving on to kind of the meat and bones of the rest of the episode, because we're already 13 minutes in. So I want to spend a lot of this time talking about the upcoming game, which is Belmont. So you've heard me beat this dead horse for really the whole season so far. Just kind of looking at the non-conference schedule here that, of course, I look like a maniac looking to the sky, but I have a schedule right above me right here. You look at non-conference play, and, the first thing I really notice is, okay, you have these power conference games, and then you sit and look, what's a scary game that can, get you a little worried? Belmont at Belmont for me. Okay, look, I get it. Belmont hasn't had the most great start to the season. Like you look at their record, and Belmont is currently 4-5 on the year. Now you sit and look at any mid-major, and you say, Phoenix, that mid-major school, that MVC team is 4-5 on the year. What are you so worried about? Well, look, they've taken this is going off the rankings that they were at the time. Maybe I could pull the current rankings up in a second, but Oklahoma, Tennessee, both of those on the road, by the way, took those teams down to the wire. Ohio State at home, they took down to the wire. And then Princeton at home, which is, if you go by receiving votes, the number 26 team in the country, literally the first team outside of the top 25, took them down to the wire. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 losses to top 25 teams. And they took, you look at some of the scores and Some are about, and actually 3 of those 4 are about double digits, but they are really close games for a while. Okay, and then they drop one to McNeese on a neutral court. Or excuse me, Ohio State was also a neutral court. But that McNeese game, neutral court loss, and you're kind of like, well, that's weird. Like, that's a bad loss. And it is. But my point is they're capable of, keeping it really close against really good teams. I tend to think that maybe Belmont kind of plays to the level of their competition just a little bit. I mean, especially with that loss to McNeese. But again, Belmont 4-5 on the year, but 4 of those losses are to top 25 or borderline top 25 teams, and they're fairly close for a while. So yeah, December 6th, they lose that game against Princeton. And last year, of course, this is the second part of a home-and-home series between Kentucky and Belmont. And last year, Kentucky beat them by 6 points, 84-78 in historic Memorial Coliseum. So again, I just look at this game and I'm halfway terrified to death. I'm sitting there and, just kind of thinking like, okay, you got to come ready to play. You can't come, and drop this one because you've done such a good job of, again, like to this point so far in the non-conference schedule, you have done what you're supposed to do if you're Kentucky, right? You've beaten the teams you're supposed to beat. And to be honest, like Maryland is better than the healthy Maryland team that you played is probably better than you when you lose to them by 8 on a neutral court, right? And to be honest, if you just start that game playing halfway decent, you probably even win the game. So, you've done such a good job building this resume early in the season. And with Belmont being 4-5, I know I was just talking about how dangerous I think they can be, but the fact that they are 4-5, okay, that kind of makes me think like, okay, well, now you really can't lose to them because you can't be the one power conference team or the one top 25 team that they played that they beat, right? You can't be that team if you're Kentucky, if you're trying to do the things that you really want to do. Just kind of looking at some of their key players, looking at some faces we need to know, some people we need to watch out for. Jalen Banks is number 1 on the depth chart. 14.9 points per game, 3.3 assists per game, and 2.8 rebounds per game. Kind of does it all there at the guard spot. Another one in Avery Strickland, 11.3 points, 2.9 rebounds, 1 assist per game. And then moving on to the front court just a little bit. Now listen, Hillary Fuller is one who, I watched some of Belmont's game, I believe against Oklahoma, and I even caught a little bit of that Princeton game, just kind of watching highlights and stuff. Hillary Fuller is someone who actually, like, I'm not saying Kentucky, like she should give Kentucky all the trouble in the world, but she can play. She's a good ball player, and I wouldn't be surprised if she had a big game against Kentucky. But she's averaging 11.1 points, 5.1 rebounds, and shooting 37.5% from deep. So, nothing like, it's not like AZ Fudd shooting 55% from deep, which is just absolutely insane. Like, if you don't know, AZ Fudd, like UConn star, is shooting, I think it's like 53% on like 6 attempts per game. Like, I don't know how Gino keeps doing it. I don't know how he keeps finding these players who are just like, I don't know, the best thing ever made. You know what I mean? Like 53, I think it's like 53% on like 6 attempts per game. Like, dude, what? Like, you were already kind of leading the country in 3-point percentage, and then you go out here and you're shooting 6 a game. It's not like she's only shooting like 1 or 2 threes a game. No, she's throwing them up. And she's still doing all that, so it's just pretty crazy. And then another guard, Tootie Jones, 9.8 points, 5.4 rebounds, and 3.2 steals per game, so she can create some havoc defensively. And speaking of havoc, which I'm going to kind of pivot back to Kentucky, I thought it was really interesting. I guess it was the Miami game. If you all remember, when I was kind of recapping the Miami game, the big thing that I talked about was I was really impressed with Clara Strack's ability to sort of, attack the passing lanes a little bit. Well, it sounds like that was actually a coaching point, right? Because I think she had like 3 steals in that game. That was actually a big coaching point from Kenny, He talked about it on his radio show on, I believe it was Monday. And by the way, UK released a video, and I was listening to it live. They got a great crowd there out at Drake's Brandon Crossing, so that's exciting to see. Like, I think they had the whole team out there, maybe. I know Clara, Amelia, and Tony were on the radio with Kenny and Darren Hendricks, so that's always fun. But again, like, they got a really good crowd out there. But one of the things Kenny was talking about on that show was how, and the term he used is float. He wanted Clara Strack to kind of float a little bit defensively. And I think that's kind of what I was saying about attack the passing lanes. Like I said, attack the passing lanes, but not just be on your man defensively, but like, I mean, I say that and you're like, well, Phoenix, that's just called a zone. But like, it's kind of, I mean, I think the idea of Clara Strack floating on defense, it's like kind of like a zone, but not really. I'd almost call it more like a soft man-to-man almost, where, like she's on her person, but like, because, you have help defense and all that. So I just thought it was neat because Kenny was talking about how, he wanted to see Clara Strack float defensively. And I remember thinking, she had 3 steals in that game and looked like she was attacking the passing lane. So clearly it was something they've been working on. And like I said, Clara, I think it was 3 steals in that Central Michigan game too. So maybe it's something we'll see more of. Maybe we'll continue to see Clara Strack kind of do that, which again is really nice because, if you're Kentucky, you're not just relying on her to only block shots. Like, she can do that. Great. The best in the country at it. But she can also, again, create some havoc, spark transition, and this team with these players should be pretty great in transition. Tony, Tiani, I mean, my goodness, those two in transition. Like, that's a lethal duo. That is a duo that can be just absolutely scary. So with that, we're going to kind of start the call to wrap on the episode. Like I said, we got to get out of here fairly quickly today, so that way our guys Jack and Jacob can talk about basically everything they're hearing with Mark Pope and JMI and all that mess. And then 4 o'clock here in about, let's see, what is that, 40 minutes or so, Tyler Thompson and the KSR Happy Hour crew are going to watch the UK volleyball match that starts in 7 minutes or so. So that should be fun. But again, I'm feeling really excited about this team, about this season. You beat Belmont. Okay. You should certainly beat Wright State and Hofstra at home. And it's like I've said for a while now, that sets you up for a game on January 1st at LSU. You're the best team LSU's played up to this point. I think the next best team would be like a 3-7 Duke team. So, this should be a really fun one. January 1st down in LSU, assuming you can beat Belmont and then get by Wright State and Hofstra as well. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling positive, which is such a different vibe. Like, the vibe around women's basketball and men's basketball right now is just completely different. And look, I would just say, like, I mean, you all that are here are clearly in tune with women's basketball, but if you happen to just float to this video or happen just to click on it and you're here, like, follow this team. Like, fall in love with this team because, at the end of the day, it's still Kentucky basketball. It's a really fun group of kids. I'm fortunate enough to have been around them a little bit, get to know them just a tad bit. Great culture, great vibes, everything like that. And again, you're 10-1. It's like I said earlier, winning cures all. And you're 10-1, and your only losses to number 7 Maryland on a neutral court. You know what I mean? So it's hard to really be mad at that. And if Kentucky does what I think they'll do, which is win these next 3 games and then go beat LSU down in Baton Rouge, well, then you're looking at a 14-1 start. And then if you beat Missouri, 15-1. At Alabama, that can be tricky, but you should probably win that one. That's 16-1. Okay, then you get Oklahoma at home. I think Kentucky loses that one probably. But, You're looking at a potential 15-1 start if they do what I think they'll do. You're looking, if you beat Belmont, should be a 13-1 start. So should be really fun times, should be exciting for Kentucky women's basketball. But again, winning cures all. And of course, on Sunday, Kentucky heads down to Belmont to try to win. And I expect them to do that. So it should be fun to watch, should be fun to keep up with. And of course, we'll get back on here for episode 50. I may have to try to get a guest on or something. I don't know. May have to try to see what I can work because episode 50, it's a big one. Like I said, I'm Phoenix Stevens here on the KSR YouTube channel on the Memorial Memo. If you haven't, like, comment, subscribe, please do all of those things. It means a lot to not just me, not just Steven, but to all of us here at Kentucky Sports Radio. We are currently marching towards 60K subscribers, so please help us get there. Again, like, comment, subscribe. I'm Phoenix Stevens, like I said, here on KSR YouTube channel on the Memorial Memo. And I will see you guys sometime next week for episode 50, right? Exciting. Peace out.